Our body can underline certain concepts. But if you are doubling down with your body, then it becomes too big. So look at me, I'm Sicilian. Southern European folks like me, we like to gesture a lot and use our body a lot. When we have an argument with somebody, when we talk with somebody, like in public life, during our private time, we love to gesticulate and just, move our hands around. When I shoot my YouTube videos, right? But it's just my natural behavior. And not everybody is like that. There are, some people who move their hands in a very more reduced way when they're talking to somebody else. Maybe they just want to be polite. Maybe they're more of, introverts, and maybe they don't have that, urge of moving their hands and their body while they're talking. And that's all fine. Everybody has its own way of expressing. So your body behavior is your body behavior. Your physicality is your physicality. Nothing to be ashamed of. Just make sure that your body tells the right story, that it's efficient and effective, that it's truthful, that it sticks to the context of which the scene is placed in. Make sure that your body, that your movement, that your dexterity, that your physicality is comprehensible, that it makes sense, that it's absolutely in tune with your character. It's nothing borrowed or artificial or placed upon, which doesn't really make sense or feels comfortable to watch. Because then again, it pushes us away from the performance and it's not pulling us in. Because we're starting to judge as an audience if that's realistic, if that makes sense, if that's really helpful, if it's not too ridiculous or what. We want to be involved with the character in his life and his human condition, in his environment, and what he's experiencing right now. So the body should just help to perform that, to show that. Because the director has an idea, the author has an idea, everybody wants this creature to come alive, but this creature moves in the way you move. And the more you are in touch and in tune with your body, with your physicality, the more believable you are as a performer in front of the camera. And on stage, of course, where you just have to magnify things a little bit more. But that's a different process. Of course, there are some characters out there, like classical characters, contemporary characters, that have some sort of body condition attached to them, which makes them kind of unique. If you think about Richard in the Shakespeare plays, or if you think about Rain Man, played by Dustin Hoffman, who was in this very weird body condition, or Bob De Niro in Awakening. In all these movies, we were perceiving and seeing characters that had a very peculiar body condition attached to their physicality, something they had to deal with, something that was part of their expression. And it was telling a very powerful story. But you see how hard that is to kind of maintain throughout the picture, to always keep it believable and realistic and flawless and natural and liquid. How hard that is from one take to the other, from one line to the other, from one scene to the other, to have that outstanding and believable high plateau of performance through your physicality, telling a story through your body movements and through what your physical movements are expressing. That is amazing. So study those great actors, artists, people who are performing with their bodies. Sometimes the script requires a character to move and behave in a certain way. Right? Sometimes the character has a peculiar body condition. When we're talking about the audition, not so much about creating it later on a later stage with the director on set, but when we're talking about the audition, make sure to keep that body condition, to keep that special, peculiar movement, that way of expressing or holding or, behaving with that body. Make sure to keep it as condensed and as small as possible. Make sure to get in with something that's very easy to repeat and to perform and to show it constantly on a high level of quality, with a high level of quality throughout the audition. And don't take something too complicated into the audition that you can't really maintain throughout the whole 5 minutes reading process, because then it kind of falls off and it kind of loses its performance, it loses its magic, and then again you will be judged for not being able of holding up this level of performance and quality throughout the whole reading process, which then might lead to the judgment that you won't be able to perform this whole thing on set later on for the whole duration of the film. So take something that's very easy to repeat, that is effective, that is powerful, that shows that you thought about this different type of physicality this character, this special character has, and keep that on a constant level. Don't try to make too much. Don't try to think about too many weird things that your body might have or has, because that just leads to distraction. It leads to you losing the audition, losing the frame in which you're placing your plate in. Yeah, it leaves some sort of idea that it was incomplete. So make something that is easy, repeatable, that belongs to you, that you rehearse thoroughly, that makes totally sense, that is efficient, and that looks okay, right? And acceptable. Everything else will be done on a later stage with the director and set, and then it will look amazing with the music and the sound and the costumes and the hair. Then it all makes sense. Then the whole picture becomes perfect. But for the sake of the audition, if there is something attached to your character, like a body condition, like some strange movement, something like a war trauma or anything else, right? Anything they might come up with, like give them a certain physicality, give them a certain disability, or give them something really specific that is easy, repeatable, and totally efficient and serves the character instead of, serving the show just for showing how great and special and twisted movements you can perform. That makes no sense here, right? We are actors, and it's about giving them the story, telling a powerful story. And like I said in the beginning, there are just two ways of doing it. And we so many times ignore the body, of taking our physicality in as an accenturizer, magnifier of the actual story of what you're actually saying. Again, if you think about people who've suffered traumas or war victims or drug addicts, all these people, they might do something with their body. Something happens with their body that is subconscious, that is just triggered by their environment, by things the other person is saying, or if it's just something that now belongs to them because they have included it in their mannerisms. When they're speaking, they're not thinking about that. They're just doing that. It just happens to them. And that's why it feels and it looks so natural and realistic. When they're saying the things that they're saying, maybe the body is going a totally different direction. And that is totally phenomenal to watch and great and entertaining. But again, here as well, you have to make sure that it's really an integral part, that it's not, something that you thought about and it seemed and it looks preconceived when you are performing it. Because then again, it's just distracting. It doesn't really make sense. So everything has to be wielded together. They intersect. Where the language stops, the body starts. And when the body stops, the language starts, right? They are twins, two sides of the coin, two sides of the medals, two ways of telling the story. It's so much potential that otherwise we would waste. So much energy that we can, place into the basket, so much more facets that we can place into the basket to show what we got, what type of performers we are. Physicality in the end just means I feel comfortable with this. I am able to perform. I'm ready to show. I'm in tune with my mechanisms. I can use some of my private stuff and add something artificial and make it mine over time by wielding it together, by exercising it thoroughly, by adding new spice continuously, by observing continuously, and by making this as transparent, as translucent, as close to you as possible. So it becomes like your second skin, like a layer. And this layer, this now feels real. This is now yours. That's your skin. Because even your voice comes out of your body. It's all your body. My muscles, my facial muscles, my face itself, our eyes, they are embedded in our body. So our body is holding everything. It is the fundamental structure that keeps everything encompassed and close and upright. And now it makes sense because it has a shape and symmetry and an expression. Does that make sense? Please leave it in the comment box below, because this is what great actors are all about. I can have a truthful and very direct response and a translation of the story through the body. Look at Dustin Hoffman. Look at Robin Williams. Look at more contemporary actors. Look at Christopher Walken. Look at all those actors. How do they behave? How do they move? I could also mention Meryl Streep. She said one time, we are always playing different versions of ourselves. So true. We are always playing a different version of ourselves. Now there's this version going on. Now I put something else out and attach it, and now this version is going on. And now there's this other version going on. And all of them are beautiful. Once you are persistent in this job and have patience, you don't have to put everything together in one basket right away and show all of your faces and all of your quirky and strange movements. Give every character something truthful and specific and beautiful to watch that is easy to repeat and powerful, as impactful as possible. So everyone has something to remember. So there's always like a hook line. There's always something like, yeah, he moved that way. He did this. Yeah, he was always flipping the coin. He was always smoking the cigarette in this funny way. There's always something attached to that character.